is the Rugby Odds, where an unlikely pundit panel of a wordsmith, a WWE legend, a rugby star, and a supermodel scour the globe, seeking best bets and bad behavior. Are you not entertained?
Gents, it's good to see you. We're again missing John Bradshaw Layfield, who's out chasing little people probably or terrorizing somebody. But if we just want to look at our records briefly from last week, and John led us with a 3-1 record because we had some crazy results. Crazy results. Australia, who'd have thunk? 38 consecutive points unanswered to beat South Africa in South Africa. Gift, I know that you have to be shaken by this one.
You know, it's one of those things where it reminded me again of whenever I was rooting for the Blues, and I will still root for the Blues whenever the URC comes back again. But South Africa has a tendency to just drop it when it matters most in these specific situations. Now, it's obviously not a critical moment, which I feel is why they dropped it, but it still sets a precedent. Like, you should be coming through hard and maintain, but you got cocky. You're like, I got all the athleticism. It's Australia. We're up 22. We don't need to try. Took your foot off the pedal. Boom. Life smacks you in the face. That's a lesson.
And Mike, the other match, New Zealand holding on with that big lead and then almost choking, but then put the pedal down when it counted.
I just think they're lucky their driving maul worked, and they got a couple of driving mauls, one just before halftime and one right at the end. So scoreline didn't do Argentina justice, if I'm honest with you, and I think that could quite easily have gone the other way, the way the Argentinians played that second half. But a few little moments didn't go their way, a few little decisions didn't go their way, and fair play the Kiwis. They got the job done.
They got the job done, and I'm going to talk about Beauden Barrett later on with one of our recurring segments here, and I know I'm going to get brushed back from you guys, but getting back to that match between Australia and South Africa, if you turned it off like John Bradshaw Layfield did after 28 minutes to watch rebooting of The Breakfast Club, shame on you, John Bradshaw Layfield, and shame on the rest of you that tuned in to watch The Breakfast Club. But let's keep it moving on. Let's go to our first recurring segment. What caught your eye? What caught your eye, Mike Friday?
I think what caught my eye in that South Africa-Australia game is when South Africa played South Africans' way, they scored 4 tries. And when they tried to play transition Australian way, they got their asses kicked. That was at altitude as well, right? So 20 minutes in, they thought it's only going one way for the Aussies. It's at sea level, it's Cape Town. Watch out, Australia. South Africa will be scrum and line out. But amazing comeback by Australia.
And Australia took some injuries in that match. They lost Peach, they lost Slipper. That's something to look for. Gift, what caught your eye?
Look, I could talk the South Africa-Australia game, I think, for days, especially that one missed pass that bounced into an interception for Australia for a pick six. It was a pick six. We'll call it what it is. I'd rather say this week with the Women's Rugby World Cup kicking off, and you got USA starting it off against England. Now, mind you, this is the toughest game that we probably could ever have, and we didn't do very well in the preseason one, and I'm hoping that Sion had a backup where he's just gave a loose plan for the team against that England team over the summer. But hey, I'm excited for it. Look, we this is the time to be able to make money. All right, this is what I look at. This is money for the team. This is money for USA Rugby. And if anybody does anything freaking right, because right now I don't feel good about the promotion that's been going on that's not under an Ilona Mar name or it has an attachment to it. Hopefully they build off of it from there. But Lord, USA, please don't get beat like you did last time. Lord, I don't want another 50-pointer.
I think it'll be more than 50, Gift.
God, no,
man, we're looking at north of 80.
Cheddar, Ilona, Alex. All right, this is 2017. We want to repeat that type of team. just give us that.
I don't see it happening.
England's just loaded. They just loaded.
No,
I
love to hate on England, but my goodness, I mean, between the 24/7, they got the size, they got the speed, they got the swag. To say that England's got swag hurts me in my soul in a different way.
Wow. Wow, what's with the hate, Gift? That's
Okay, Mr. Anybody but England, then I choose England. But we understand this, all right? Today is rivalry week. That's what we got. Rivalry week. So,
All
hey,
right.
Your issue is as well, Gift. If it was England, then the only other team you'd be thinking about is Canada. So it's even worse. So
oh my goodness. You're killing me here. You see that? USA, please don't make me have to praise these teams anymore. Please take this off of my burden.
All right. Well, something that caught my eye, because we do have the top 14, which is going to be heating up, which is ridiculous. But I was just checking on the injury update for Antoine Dupont, who won't be back until after the November tests. But the one thing that I was thinking also is he was part owner of the MLR LA team. So now I'm wondering, is he part of the new ownership group, the combination of the two squads? Because we haven't heard anything out of that, but I don't think anybody's really thinking about it, right? I mean, I would imagine he's thinking about it.
He's definitely part of the new ownership. It'd be mad not to have him part of the new ownership. His equity share will be carried over for sure.
You got to think so, right?
For sure.
If he's part of the ownership equity group and he has not been blasted in front of the screens and on every commercial tabulation, missed opportunities. Even if the U.S. doesn't know Antoine Dupont, there's at least pictures with him and John Harbaugh. That works enough. Just do something.
Thankfully, he's not here, so I can say this, but the biggest swing and miss they have is with John Layfield. He's got 700,000 X followers, 325,000 Instagram followers, WWE, everything entertainment-wise, and he's into rugby. Yet, we're the only ones that understand it or get it. He should be part of this somehow.
As the great philosopher Blade once said, there's always MFers trying to skate uphill.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's what we do here every week. All right, let's move it along with our second recurring segment, Player of the Week. And the candidates are Australia's Fraser McWright, 21 tackles on the road versus the cup holders. He was awesome. Tate McDermott, the number 9 of Australia, and Mike Friday's protege, off the bench in the 49th minute with his team down 22-12. They won 38-12. That's a good half. Will Jordan set up 2 tries, had a try. He was all over the place for the All Blacks. When they needed a spark, he provided it. And Beauden Barrett, the All Blacks number 10, makes the difficult look easy, calmly quarterbacking the All Blacks to an impressive win. And when things started to collapse, he stepped up. Mike, who's your Player of the Week?
Oh, it's tough, isn't it? Those Aussie boys were decent. McDermott made an impact. But for me, Will Jordan was the difference for the All Blacks. They were in some sticky moments and he came up with some moments himself. He put a cracking pass for Reese's try, and then also his step and his line break just before the first half to put the 9 under the sticks. His link play was great. His D was decent. He did all the hard work and the running off the ball. Will Jordan was the difference in that game when they needed it. Will Jordan for me.
Gift.
I got to go with Fraser I got to give it to a number 7. Like, if you're a beast on the field, you're a beast on the field, and especially whenever it leads to a win, those big hits, those stoppages make the most difference in the world. Strong defense wins championships, and that was as much of a championship game for Australia in as many years as you can imagine. 6 years since they beat South Africa? That you can't take that away.
All right, I could selfishly pick Beauden Barrett, but I'm going with the king, and I'm going with Fraser McWright of Australia. He is our Player of the Week. Let's move on to the next segment, Gift's favorite segment, Grown and Spade. The nominees are Aussie number 8, Harry Wilson. All 6'5" of them, and his 2 tries helped the Aussies complete that epic Ellis Park comeback. Keep an eye on his injury status, though. When it looks like he turned that ankle pretty severely, he should slide. Eben Etzebeth, 16 tackles, 14 carries, which were the most in that game, and 80 minutes of rugby. That's tough to argue with. Marcus Kramer, the Argentinian number 7, was a beast for the Pumas, looks like an animal, and was a huge part of that second half comeback that almost happened. Got them within 7. Mike, who is your grown-ass man?
Oh, I mean, Harry Wilson was decent. Couple of good
Harry
scores.
who?
Harry. He's not Tommy Freeman. Let's just be very. He might be Harry Wilson, but he's not.
Let him
Tommy
know, Mike.
Freeman.
Let him know, Mike. These don't roll off the tongue the same way.
Yeah.
You can't force it.
I mean, to be fair, he's decent. He's a captain. He's leading from the front, and his support play got him his 2 tries. Whereas Kramer was a beast. He looked like a James Bond villain. He threw himself around and he went toe to toe and did a proper job on the All Blacks. We didn't really see much of Ardy Severe. You can look at the stats and tell me he got 68 carry minutes, but we didn't see any Ardy Severe moments, real moments in the loose play. This Kramer bloke was on fire. He was a beast. He's the man. Kramer. Boom.
His team lost. Gift. Who's your grown-ass man of the week?
You know, my automatic notion wants to say Eben, but I also feel, despite what the stats said, it just looks like he lost a step. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It just
You tell him that.
looks like I absolutely will. Hey, man, right now, me and the U.S. and the South African, we beefing right now, all right?
Mike,
it's
how
all
great,
going down.
Mike, how great would it be if he came flying through from the side, just crushed Gift off the chair right now?
Just tapped him on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Flick the sprained ankle.
Yeah. All right. So who's your pick?
But no, I do think that when it comes down to it, when it comes to this moment, it'll be the one time that I'll take a losing moment, but having a great effort. And I'm looking at Marcos Kramer. Look, the Argentinians' rise is monumental, and the continued absolute dominant play that they're doing, even against an All Blacks team on the road, like that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do.
I don't like losers. I like winners. I'm going with Harry Wilson to win this, but I'm outnumbered here, and management's telling me my weighted pick doesn't make up for you two with your ignorance. But as a result, Marcos Kramer
is this week's grown-ass man.
All right, guys, we're going to take a break. We're going to bring in George. He's going to yell about some stuff, but then we'll come back with you guys again for the Rugby Championship picks, NPC picks, and our picks of the week after this.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street.
And we are back, and we're welcoming in Mr. George Hook, calling in from Dublin. George, great to see you. How are you?
I am well. I presume you're going to get all ecstatic about the weekend in the Southern Hemisphere, while I'm largely unmoved.
Well, that's precisely what's going to happen. You are a clairvoyant, sir. And with this week's
Headlines with Hook.
Here's the all-encompassing headline: the Rugby Championship fallout. Australia's first win at Ellis Park since 1963. New Zealand ranked number 1 in the world, and Joe Schmidt's team going from patsies to a powerhouse in 60 minutes. Care to comment, George?
Absolutely. And did you ever doubt that I wouldn't want to comment? Well, first, it doesn't matter about New Zealand being number 1 because the rankings are done by the results. So New Zealand win Argentina away from home. South Africa lose at home. So therefore South Africa go down, New Zealand go up. And Ireland, who didn't play, of course, in the recent past, slip in at number 2, which probably is higher than they deserve, all right? If you want to stay with the rankings just for a second, it is deeply worrying for the USA, in my view. The rankings for the men, but more importantly, the rankings for the women, which, to use one of your great phrases, they were a powerhouse of women's rugby. And they are now behind Ireland, for crying out loud. How could you be behind Ireland in women's rugby? It's not possible, says a former coach of the Irish women. Anyway, let's get to the point. It's a great phrase that the prospect of being hanged in the morning concentrates the mind wonderfully. After 30 minutes in Ellis Park, there was going to be a mass hanging of the Wallabies. So they concentrated. Now, I can't work it out, all right? I cannot work it out. But Joe Schmidt is no genius, right? That's the first point. He's no genius. As usual, it took him forever to get to O'Connor at fly half, and now he's a genius. O'Connor's been around forever. Anyway, South Africa just blew it in the most extraordinary way. They didn't tackle. The bomb squad did nothing. I don't understand it. Now, let's stay with Schmidt for a moment, who I don't like, and I don't want to give him any credit, lest anybody be under an illusion. Australia played great rugby to win that match. Now, how is Schmidt a genius when he couldn't do that with Ireland? Why didn't Ireland play rugby like that when as soon as Schmidt went, they started playing rugby like that and went to second place? I think there's something happening within the team which is not Schmidt. If I were to be clairvoyant for just a moment, I would think the team got in the room and said, we're not having any of this crap nonsense from Schmidt. We're going to play the way we want to. Ooh. And then they played the way Schmidt wanted to, and they were conceding a point a minute. And then they suddenly turned around and said, listen, this is nonsense. Let's do it the way we want to play. And I think for the game, that's really good. I mean, Cape Town, I tell you, I haven't been really moved and motivated to kind of turn on telly at 10 o'clock in the morning, but I'm not missing next week. I'm not missing Cape Town, because what this Cape Town is huge. Erasmus is going to cut the team to shreds, partially, to be fair. He's got 5 major injuries. So you're going to see a totally changed team by him. And then, can Australia do that again? I'm not sure. But you got to watch it.
And they've got some injuries too, Australia does.
Yeah, but you got to watch it. I mean, you just have to watch it. Now, meanwhile, down in Argentina, the Argentinians were a bit unlucky to get a pretty crummy yellow card after about 14 minutes, during which New Zealand, as they always do, made the most of it. I think Argentina will be better. I think South Africa will be better. But, turn your television on. I mean, it's 5 o'clock in the morning for you, but you got to wake up. You can't miss this. This is huge. If you can talk about rugby games as huge, like when Zelensky is in the White House, it seems a bit nonsensical to be talking about a rugby match.
Yeah.
But that's what we're paid for. Somebody else is paid to look at the White House.
Agreed. I got to sidetrack you here a little bit. Women's Rugby World Cup. Who do you like?
There's just no call. It's England. England are better by a comfortable margin than everybody else in the competition. But my heart's still in the USA. My heart is still in Colorado Springs at the headquarters of US Rugby. And I can't see a USA team going out there without having a real heartfelt desire to see them do well. And the men haven't. And to see the women not doing it. Like, the women were the first favourites for the Women's World Cup. The American women were the best rugby team in the world. And look at them now. I don't understand why. I don't get it.
Well, the women's game has grown. Some other countries are now playing it.
So what?
That's a short answer. There's not really an answer. That you're right.
But it's 150 million women in America.
Yeah.
Nobody else has 150 million women. You got to find 25 who are pretty good.
Agreed. And unfortunately, we're out of time. So I want to thank you, sir, for this week's
Headlines with Hook. No problem.
We'll be right back after this with Mike Friday and King Gift Egbelu. Don't go away.
You need your cleats? You need them tomorrow? If you order today by 3 p.m. New York time or noon LA time, they can have them to you tomorrow. Young, old, male, female, if you're playing on turf, if you're playing on grass, if you're playing in the rain, you're playing in the heat, they've got you covered. RugbyNow.com. Go there now. From New York City comes America's longest-running and most popular rugby show. The biggest names in Major League Rugby, MLR highlights, and big match previews. Rugby Wrap-Up presents MLR Weekly, made in New York City.
And we are back. And guys, we're going to go to the Rugby Championship with our picks. Let's go to the South Africa versus Australia rematch. This one's in Cape Town. And South Africa, despite losing, is favored by 13.5 points. Mike.
South Africa to win easily. I think with the match, there'll be a few boys out with the Aussie boys. I don't see them playing kick transition. I think they'll play scrum line out, driving ball, and they'll beat them up and they'll squeeze them. South Africa to win and to cover.
But Mike, as a coach, you watch them beat them up in the first 15, 20 minutes. And then what?
Well, what you don't do is then you don't keep throwing the ball around. You just keep doing what you should do. And they didn't do that. And they will do that. I mean, don't forget there was that altitude factor where you thought the South Africans, it was only going to get stronger and the Aussies were going to struggle. And the opposite happened because all of a sudden South Africa were taken to a tempo that they don't like playing at. They'll not do that 2 weeks running.
Gift.
Yeah, this is one of those games that I feel is going to end up pissing me off because I feel like it goes in one or two directions. Either A, we get South Africa full squad and Australia giving us, they'll say it's a A squad, but it's really like B plus squad. And then they're going to be like, if they lose, it's going to be like, well, it's the B plus squad. This is just a friendly. It's the Rugby Championship. We just want to even it out and get it's the bull, it's the BS that happens. Or B, we get a South Africa team that try and come at full power, but they underwhelm again. In my opinion, though, I do think South Africa is going to win at home. I don't think they have a choice. I think this is a pride thing. You have to make up for your idiocy, and you have to keep up with New Zealand. You're trying to win because ultimately it's going to come down to New Zealand, South Africa, and those two games. So if you lose this one, basically lots of rugby championships, and what happens in the future after that is going to be tossed up in the air. So I look at South Africa to be able to cover this 13.5. They have to cover 13.5. You have to cover it, or else it's an embarrassment. Now, anything less is embarrassing. Rossi should have questions.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they're going to roll on paper. They should roll them, especially with the injuries to the Aussies. And there isn't going to be any lower expectation other than absolute annihilation from South Africa camp.
If Aussies have no lose in this situation, they're a young team. So they already got the one major win, and even if they lose this one, they still got the win, and they still can show effort because they're a developing team. And Schmidt literally gave enough to be able to show we got a turnaround coming in. 2 games in a row, we got a turnaround coming through.
And here's what John had to say. Whoa! All right, who cares what John had to say anyway? Let's move on to the next game. Let's go to Argentina again, hosting New Zealand. This time, New Zealand favored by 10.5. Mike, I don't think you're on board with that, are you?
No, definitely not. I think fair play, New Zealand driving ball is a problem, and the Argentinians have got to find a way to counter that because they can match them everywhere else on the pitch and certainly can at home. They need another monumental performance like the second half, but I don't see the New Zealanders winning by 10.5. I'm going to go Argentina.
In Buenos Aires, Gift, who do you like?
I think that Argentina is going to keep this game close. They will be able to cover the points, but I do believe that New Zealand will probably get the win out of this one. I'm not seeing that special turn for Argentina. Just really hard play and then going back to it. I think this is one of those where is this too soon? Argentina probably gassed themselves out on big play, and it's hard to come back.
I'm going with the All Blacks machine to cover that easily. easily. They've already been there for a week and they did the job. They were all smiles and everything else. It was like they didn't really expel all of their energy yet in that match. Let's take a break and we'll come back with NPC and picks of the week after this. Hey, U.S. fans, you can tune into every match live on Flow Rugby. How do we know that? Because we're on there all the time.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street.
All right, gents, we're back, and we have our NPC picks and our picks of the week. Let's start with the NPC picks. Mike.
Jed Melvin, Tom Barham, North Harbour are gonna win this weekend. They got 17.5 points against the Tasman, so that's my team. My boys gonna come good. They're gonna come good. Second week running.
Your loyalty knows no end. I'll tell you, they are severe underdogs once again.
We have drunk together. You are right.
Fair enough. Gift.
I'm all about trying to stay on the wave. All right, let's see. Taranaki has demolished 2 teams in a row. They got another favorite in there. It looks like they're trying to go for a championship run. Taranaki over Waikato minus 10.5. I'm giving it to Taranaki. Waikato. Minus 10.5 on this for Taranaki. Keep the wave. Taranaki, get that championship, baby. Get that championship. Blow them out all the way through.
All right, I'm going to take Hawke's Bay minus getting 1.5 from Canterbury. I'm taking Hawke's Bay. And here's what John had to say. Okay, Johnny. And with that, it's time for John's favorite part of the show. Picks of the week, Johnny. Mike, who do you like?
Well, I'm going Women's World Cup. And I think it's going to be a tri-fest, England, USA. So I'm going for over 10 tries.
Oof. Over 10 tries, a specific bet. Gift.
Hey, man, look, see.
You're going to go for Canada. You're going to go for Canada, aren't you?
Refuse. No, shout out to some of the people on there. They're actually legit people. But it doesn't, because it's rivalry week, baby. All right? There's no friends here anymore. I'm going to get, I'm taking the counter on Mike. Under 10 tries for England, all right? Defensive game, all right? Scion got these women on lock. Please. These women on lock. I'm looking at under 10.5 on the England-USA game, and I'll say for Scotland-Wales combined for 30 points. Actually, it's going to cover at 30 points.
Wow, that's 2 picks for the price of 1. Okay, here's what John had to say. He doesn't know shit about anything. I think it's going to be the over in the England versus USA match. It'll be over 55 points. On that note, we are unfortunately out of time. I want to thank Mr.
Ellie
John Bradshaw.
Don't hurt us too much, man. Don't hurt us.
Don't worry about Abby Dow.
And on that note, I want to thank John Bradshaw, Layfield, the WWE Hall of Fame return rugby advocate, King Gift Egbelu, the Inventor of Words, Mike Friday, the 3-time Olympic Sevens coach, George Hook, the Irish legend, and thank you for tuning in. Please check out MLR Weekly, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, sign up for our weekly newsletter, and please join our American Red Cross blood donor team.
I wish you'd give all your blood to somebody. Wrap it up!
Go USA!